Hello, everybody. I'm Raina from Garden District Bookshop, and this is Virtual Happy Hour. Tonight, I will be talking to the creative team behind Local Spirit, which is a beautiful coffee table book that showcases the neighborhood bars all around Orleans Parish. Ken Murphy is the photographer behind the book. Rick Dobbs is the designer behind the book. And I'm just going to invite them in here, push the button, and say, hi, guys.
Hello.
Hey, what's happening?
How are you doing this evening?
We're good.
Doing fantastic. A little cold and gray outside, but other than that, it's cozy in here.
Right? I'm happy to be inside today, and it's only going to get worse over the next few days. So we just got our house insulated underneath, and I'm very, very excited to test it out.
Perfect timing.
Oh, wow.
Exactly.
Thank you for New Orleans.
Yeah.
Insulated floor.
Right? It is a luxury. I've been in this house for 13 years, and we just got it done this week. So
It's crazy.
yeah, that's about how long it takes. So since it's happy hour, what are you gentlemen drinking this evening?
Red wine.
We picked up the 19 Crimes Cali Red Snoop Dogg edition for the special occasion, so we're indulging in that.
Okay, so here's my question about the Snoop Dogg wine, which I have not tried, but I have passed by it many times in different stores, thinking this is the moment. So is that what you did? Was it a spur of the moment thing, or have you had this before? Is it good?
I've had the 19 Crimes brand before, but not the Snoop Dogg Cali Reds. This is the first one. It's like a fruity Pinot Noir kind of thing going on.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Yeah.
All right.
I like it.
Very, very sessionable red wine.
I'm surprised.
I'm in.
I find it interesting because now I'm drinking Snoop Dogg wine, but yesterday I was watching Snoop Dogg on Monk.
I did not know he was on. He pops up on the weirdest shows.
I think that's one of the most funniest monks I've ever seen was with Snoop
I've
Dogg.
never seen that show.
Snoop Dogg was a rapper, and his name was Murderous.
Of course he was.
Was the case that they gave me.
Right. His name was Murderous, and his assistants was Assassin and Killer.
Of course. It was basically, I mean, he was typecast.
It
So
was so funny though. We were rolling.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen an episode of Monk either.
Well, that was a good one.
I definitely got to check it
I
out.
think Antonio from Wings, right? The guy from Wings, the old TV show. I don't know. Anyway,
I don't know.
we're on tangent here about Snoop Dogg.
Right? All right. We have a question to start off. What's your favorite drink? What do you drink?
I drink red wine because my doctor told me I had to. So it was like I had to give up the beer and the whiskey and alcohol, the vodka, but I can drink wine every day. As a matter of fact, I saw a lady on TV today, 114 years old, and she drank a glass of wine a night.
That's the tannin. It's good for your heart, circulation, and all that. Well, also one of the fun games with the book is like, where's Waldo but find Ken's glass of red wine? It's in several photos sitting around, on a bar or a chair or a ledge somewhere or whatever. But as far as my go-to drink, just straight up vodka soda with a lemon. Nothing fancy.
Yeah, when I'm out and about, it's vodka cranberry because that's
There you go.
everywhere's got it.
Good for the kidneys too.
Now I will drink beer when I'm fishing. So
See, doctor's orders are no good when you're out on the boat,
that don't count.
right?
I'm looking for a new doctor.
He lets you drink wet red wine, so that works.
That's right. I'm not complaining too much.
He takes advantage of it too.
I just want to take a moment to say, everybody who's watching, if you have any comments or questions or anything about the book or bars, we'd love to hear your stories. What are some, what's your favorite bar in town? Type it in the comments. Let us know. We'd love to answer any questions or anything like that. So I have a question about not just your favorite bar. Oh, well, there you go. What's your favorite bar in New Orleans? Okay, so I have two questions because I'm going to go with Linda's question is, do you guys have a favorite bar there? But then a follow-up to like, what was your, maybe one of your favorite photo shoots for the book?
Well, personally, I can't think of a bar that I like the best, even though I have more memories at the Napoleon House than probably any other bar, because my wife and I used to go there when we lived here in the city and drink the Pimm's cups. But Rick's more versed on the bars than I am.
There's different categories of favorite bars. I mean, I have my favorite office neighborhood bar, my favorite like neighborhood bar uptown where I live, and then like I guess the most fun bars we had, most fun at shooting with the most character and like, most photogenic. So I guess uptown bar, neighborhood bar uptown is 45 Chop, owned by Debbie Schatz, who also wrote the foreword for our book. Good friend of mine. We got our launch party there as well. Office neighborhood in Mid City would be Evangeline. Working on Sundays, I go watch the Saints games over there pretty often. So yeah, and then the most fun we had shooting for the book, I think, was probably when we shot Snake and Jake's and Circle Bar on the same night, and then we shot Vaughn's and BJ's in the same night. We ended up hanging out in the Vaughn's kitchen with the owners until probably 4 a.m. just having a blast for them. So yeah,
those two combos, those can be all-nighters for sure.
Well, we had no idea that Dave Clement, who owns Circle Bar, also owned Snake and Jake. So we were there shooting one of the first bars we shot for the book, actually. And he was like, "Where are y'all shooting after this?" And we were like, "Snake and Jake's." And he's like, "I own that bar too. Want to follow me over there?" We're like, "Hell yeah, let's go." So it was a good time.
Yeah, the Circle Bar is one of the ones that when it was announced that they were closing, that would hit me right here.
Very sad.
That was, and it's such a unique space.
They tried to raise the rent on him during COVID, and it was like, he's like, later.
I mean, yeah, what are you going to do? Like at that point, you can't even, who knows what your profit's going to be a month, a year, what's going on. So you can't.
That's a hard enough business anyway.
Yeah.
People don't realize it's a hard business. You
Absolutely.
just have to know what you're going to make, how much you're going to make, or anything.
All right. So Scott asks, says that he loves the Always Lounge. Is it in the book? Is Always in the book?
It is not in the book. We reached, there are a couple of bars reached out to that never heard back from. We tried to call or stop by, and we wanted to include, that was one of them. And they were also more of like a cabaret and kind of do shows. And so didn't include Tipititas because it's a live event space, and it's not open every day of the week for like happy hour. So if it wasn't a local bar open every night of the week, happy hour, for locals, we didn't include it. It was kind of a criteria that we worked off of.
Okay.
I'm not sure if Always is open every night of the week now, but it wasn't back then. And it was more for like stand-up shows or like a band or something like that. But we did reach out.
FYI, there are 102 bars in the book. So,
do you know how many bars are in the city?
We did no.
I was like, I don't know.
There would probably be 500.
If it was a metro area book, it'd be 500 pages. So it'd be.
Yeah.
We stopped because it was like, this is a never-ending proposition.
Orleans Parish only, and it had to be, couldn't be like a hotel bar or, except for the Columns. The Columns is more of like a local neighborhood hangout.
Well, every time we went out, we would go out with a list that had X number of bars on it, and then when we came back, we had more bars than we went out with.
Yeah.
How does
this?
It was
a very living and breathing list. Some get marked off, 10 got added. They say, "Hey, you haven't been here yet." We're like, "Where in the hell is that? I've never even heard of that place." So,
that's what
so many
happens.
little hidden gems tucked away in the neighborhoods that you don't know about.
Excuse me for reaching.
I mean, that's one of the things I really, truly love about New Orleans. Not just the bars, but you turn a corner. You feel like you've been here 50 times before, but you turn the corner a different way, or you go down the street a different way, and all of a sudden there's a shop here, there's a bar here, there's a barber shop, there's something you didn't even know existed there.
Well, that's kind of what intrigued me about the book when Rick wanted to do it, and I really couldn't get my head around it, but when I did, I enjoyed it because you would pass a bar and you would always say to yourself, "I wonder what it's like in there," and we tried to capture that with the interior and the exterior, and that was the idea between the interior and exterior, even though some of them have one or the other, but just very few of them are like this.
But back to Always, though, we did that same area. We did shoot Lost Love. We shot Cajun's Pub, Siberia, Hi-Ho, and I mean, Saturn Bar down the street, and then Mimi's, several bars in the Marion and Baldwater area. So definitely covered that.
The area didn't get left out.
That's right.
Yeah. I live like I can't speak to COVID hours. Who knows what's happening, but they've been open every night, like for a while, but they don't have they'll have events, like 4 nights out of the week. And then the other nights you just sort of, there's nothing happening. You just go in and have a drink, which makes it fun. I've just started being able to go out again more. So my son is now 14, which means you can leave him home alone for a little bit.
There you
go. Yeah. So there's all these, this big gap of time in my life where I'm like, I've seen that bar. I've passed by it. I wonder what it's like inside. I don't know when I'll find out. So I'm starting to be able to do that. And actually, when I was flipping through your book, because I have been here, my son's 14, but I've been here for 15 years. So there are plenty of bars where I have passed by them and I wasn't able to really go in.
Right.
And when your book first came in to the bookshop, I'm flipping through it and going, there's one I want to go to. There's one reminded me of all these ones that I have passed over the years and not been able to make an evening to go out to. And, then my son got old enough to leave home, and then COVID happened. So I'm really looking forward to.
Well, and some people wouldn't even know. Some people wouldn't even know we're a bar like Milan Lounge. I mean, so I've walked by there and bites by there tons of times during the day. Saw a Joker sign out from it. I mean, there's no name or anything, and it's very nondescript. And then one night, researching, I was we stopped by there and had a blast shooting there too. So yeah.
Yeah, a lot of places you got to be buzzed in. That's nice.
Yeah.
and that's the Milan Lounge is the only photo in the book that we show a portrait of the owners. Mm-hmm. They were high school buddies, and one of them passed away. And so we asked the remaining owner if he'd mind us putting that photo in the book, and he was like, "Oh, we'd love to have it in there." So as memorial to his buddy. So
right.
And that, talking about that was one of the hard things I had with the initial concept, was trying to figure out how to photograph the places, because a lot of people in a bar don't want to be seen in a bar,
Yeah.
And we talked about that. And so one of the things we did was we shot on slow exposure so that people would blur. And but a lot of times people
if you don't want to be on camera, just move your head and it's done,
But we would tell people we're shooting, and if you don't want to be in it, you might want to leave. Some people did. We had a few that didn't want to be photographed, but
we always had, before we even showed up, we always had clearance, of course, from the bar owner,
right,
to be there shooting. So we never showed up cold or anything.
Just randomly.
No, we're here.
We had an incident at Checkpoint Charlie's. It could have been an incident.
Outside,
it was kind of funny. We were setting up. I was getting ready to do the shot that's in the book, and Rick and I are standing there. My son, who is a policeman from Bay St. Louis, happened to just go inside to go to the restaurant, and this guy come running up, who had been sitting on the side of the building, and came running up and wanted to know what we were doing. And we told him, he said, "Well, you can't take my picture. I sell drugs all over the world." And that's what me and Rick did. We laughed at it. We was like, "Well, you might not want to be in this photograph."
Right?
Move out the way.
just step behind.
All of the places we shot in the neighborhoods, the only time we ever had any issue was right there with that guy.
Yeah.
He was threatening to break our camera and stuff. We're like, okay, just run along, whatever.
Yeah. You don't want to hurt for a camera.
Right? Well, he jumps right to it. So he could have just said, "Hey, I don't want to be in this photo," and you'd be like, "Cool, man, just move over there." But he's like, "Wow,
you can have your spot back."
Right? We'll hold your stool. It's cool. Don't worry about it. So you guys,
99.9% of the people and places, we didn't have any trouble. So it worked out great. I thought better than I originally imagined. And what we did was, and my background is I'm a documentary photographer. That's my degree. And it is what it is. We didn't try to create a architectural digest or some sort of stylized photo, of the place. If it was busy, it was busy. If it was dead, it was dead.
If it was dirty, it was dirty. Cigarette butts everywhere. I mean, we did not besides like dust spots and like lens flares. There was no like heavy photoshopping or editing done. It was all like in camera caught and not stepped on at all.
The only thing we may have done, I'm guilty because it does drive me insane, is move a garbage can.
Yeah, he's got a trash can.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a problem with trash cans. It's like,
and now I do
move
it
it to the side.
for clients. It's kind of funny.
Let that one go to the side. But
no, I do that same thing.
We just wanted it to be what it was. And
you do this great job. You do an amazing job of capturing that in each photograph, and it has sort of a consistency because you do use the long exposure in all the photos, so it has that look, the consistency of the same sort of look to it.
But the whole light only. We didn't do flash or anything.
Right. No supplemental lighting at all.
Yeah. And you capture each one. Every single one of these bars looks like somewhere I want to go into. So you're doing a great job.
Well, and, thank you for that. And some people are telling us that they're actually taking the book and going to the bars and getting the owner or the bartender or whatever to sign it, or getting their friends to sign it at the bar, So, it's kind of fun.
We had somebody, and this is, as far as I know, it's the first time that this has happened, but I don't think it's going to be the last. So you guys might not know this, but the book Obituary Cocktail, that is a really popular book for people to use as a wedding registry.
Right. Yeah, they do the same thing with my Mississippi books and with this book, actually.
Yes. Well, it was, I don't know, it was 6 months ago now, because time's a mess. But we had someone purchase this book as and told us that they were going to use it as their registry, for
like that.
And that's, I loved it when the people did it with Obituary Cocktail. It makes so much sense and it's so unique. And now you've got this other book and it's great. And they can write little notes. Maybe that's where they met, or maybe that's somewhere they used to hang out in college or whatever. And they can write the notes on the pages and
find your favorite bar and like sign it. Yeah. And
exactly.
Also, there was a group from Chicago. The bride bought, I guess, 8 or 9 of the books for groom's gifts. And also had the book for the sign-in at the reception too. So
yeah, that's cool. A great idea.
Great compliment.
So okay, I don't know if we said if you guys were originally from New Orleans. You're not.
Nope.
You moved here 15 years. So where are you guys originally from?
My wife is from New Orleans. I am the atypical Mississippi man marries a Louisiana woman. If you know the country song.
Ken lived here in the 80s for quite some time, though. I grew up in Gulfport. I've been in Louisiana, South Louisiana for 15 years, New Orleans for 10. But I spent all of my high school and college weekends over here at shows at State Palace and Tips and, just being a little delinquent,
Well,
Bossier City.
What's that?
Barbara's tuning in from Bossier City.
Okay.
Hi, Barbara.
Hi, Barbara. Cheers to you.
Right. I went to school in New York. When I got out, I came here and worked, and that's how I moved here. Mainly because my wife was from here. But
and did you meet her in New York, or were you guys together?
I met her here. As a matter of fact, we've known each other almost our whole lives because our families were related. It's complicated.
I have an aunt and uncle who are also my cousins, so it's cool.
Well, we actually have the same first cousins, but we're not related.
That's a good question.
Right.
The period of time it was shot over. So we spent almost 4 years making this book. We started in late 14 and went to press in late 18. So good question. Thanks for that spoopy movie time.
How long did you actually shoot the book? What's the time of shooting the book and then designing and like getting the book actually made?
Almost 4 years.
Well, no, was separate. Like,
Well,
how long did it take to shoot, and how long did it take to?
It was Rick was designing it as we're shooting it. So by the time we got done shooting, it was already designed.
If we shoot a few nights a week, I would already have those photos like edited and done by the next shot we were doing. So as we went, but if Ken was here, we'd have be able to shot it in like maybe 2 months. But but
I would have never survived that.
We had a restaurant reopening in Big St. Louis going on, and I had my work over here and travels, and so we'd take a couple months off and then hit it hard for a month, and But production time, once files were sent, approvals and press proofs and all that, probably about 4 months production time.
Yeah, it's about a 3 to 4 month process. I would give it 4 to 5 months if you're new at it.
Right.
To give yourself.
And we self-published, self-funded, and all that as well. So we had complete control over everything, paper selection and processes and inks, and we're kind of control freaks. So it was important we had control. Yeah.
I can relate to that.
Very few publishers would do what we did or would do what we do.
We'll spend the money per unit that we did.
Yeah. And when you have that you have, like you said, that freedom when you do it yourself. I mean, there's more, I guess, risk for you all because you have that upfront cost and everything.
Right.
Which I can only assume is paying out with this book. If it hasn't yet, it will, because it's a great book and you guys should all buy it.
I think we'll be in the black in about 4 or 5 months.
Well, according to my daughter, 10 months actually, but
that's just paying like minimal notes.
But
if we double up on notes, we could be done in like 4 or 5 months and like making money finally.
Yeah.
So,
there you go.
Yep.
We're getting close.
Ken's daughter is our business partner and also handles all of our fulfillment and like finances.
Keeps the taxes paid and the bills paid. And
she's the lady we email when we need more books.
Christina Murphy.
I've got her email address.
Right.
She's been crucial to the project. So
yeah, because boy, I'm not good at it, and I don't like doing it.
Yeah, we're both right brain, so it's kind of tough to
don't get any money.
It just needs to show up on my bank account so I can buy my coffee in the morning. I don't need to know where it came from.
That's right.
Like, I wonder why I have a balance.
Right. It's good. As long as I show up and the card swipes, I don't care.
The wife wants to give me some money.
Love it. Yeah, so you guys are obviously the creative force behind the whole thing. And we were talking, actually, last week I was talking to Ari Herstand, who is, he works mostly in music, but a lot of that creativity and how, generally creative people aren't the ones that aren't the most organized of the bunch, and figuring out, finding that good team that keeps all of you moving forward. So
I've been very fortunate finding Rick. I can tell you that. If there is such a thing as fate, I believe fate brought me to Rick. Because he helped me a lot.
There you go.
And I ain't gonna lie, he helps me to look good. So
when you guys worked on books together, did you design them, shoot it and design them simultaneously as well, or is this the first book you've done that on? Because I think
no, this is our 5th book, and our 4th book. My first one he didn't help me with, but
I hadn't met him yet.
He hadn't met me with my South Coast Home, which was my first book, and he helped me with Mississippi, which was my second book, and it was based loosely on my first book. And we've since then kept the same format and the same paper, basically the same type of paper, and a lot of the same things, hand sewn binding and,
Japanese stock, archival stock,
very high
slice
quality,
sewn, hardbound, linen wrap,
high quality printing, and Rick knows how to do the high quality stuff. So I didn't have a need to go anywhere else.
But the Mississippi book, he had already had it shot. And thankfully, he brought all the negatives and discs to my house in Baton Rouge before Katrina hit, because that book would have never gotten made. It was all at his house in Bay St. Louis, and his house was gone. So it's very serendipitous. He brought it to my house in Baton Rouge.
And I was working on that book for 5 years.
Wow.
And we traveled the Mississippi Delta and Hill Country and Chitlin Circuit for 3 years, making the blues book, to all the jukes and all that and stuff, and the festivals and the bluesmen's homes, and that was kind of being made at the same time we were shooting. I was editing and creating the book at the same time. So,
and we were actually talking about this book while we were doing that book.
It took me years to talk him into doing it. He just couldn't wrap his head around it. I'm like, if you don't do it with me, I'm gonna do it by myself. So I'm doing this book with you. But
Like, wait a minute,
I'd rather have you on board, but
can't go without me.
What I'm trying to think, like, of course, now we know the concept. We have the book, so we know. But like, what didn't you get, Ken? It's a book with bars.
Well, I'm right now I'm semi in the bar business, but I was in the bar business. I started a bar, and I know that a lot of people didn't like being seen in bars, and so I had an issue with photographing people in bars.
We thought it had been done already too, but it hadn't been done like this yet.
Yeah, right.
Not like this.
I couldn't see how to make the photos interesting. I know that sounds crazy, but it was like, how do you show one interior of a place
and one exterior
the most interesting way you can, and we would go into a place and we would look around and we would find the best view.
Well, and
that showed the place the way it is, and
if we didn't just force, if there was like, if there became monotony in like an interior, like, not every interior of a bar or exterior of the bar in the city is photogenic, so it became like monotonous. We didn't include that interior shot. So it was just like a boring long bar with like brass fixtures, and I mean, it's not really interesting visually, so we just didn't.
Well, it was kind of due to size, but we started thinking, what is the most interesting? Is it the interior or the exterior? And
most have both, but some don't.
There's only a few like that.
Yeah.
There's not many.
And the main thing was to each neighborhood of the city, whether it's Marigny, Bywater, 7th Ward, Mid-City, Black Pearl, Uptown, Garden District, you get it. Each neighborhood has its own personality and kind of character, and therefore the bars in that neighborhood reflect that personality and character of that neighborhood. And I just thought that it was like, to me, almost like a anthropologic study, a cross section of that drinking and like cocktail culture in the city.
It is, and it's because we have gay bars, straight bars, white bars, black bars,
college
bars,
high-end bars, low-end bars,
low-end. We got friends in low places.
Something in here for everybody. We're trying to say we wanted to cover all the bases to make sure it was all inclusive, and some of the best nights were at some of the more crazier spots. So we have a story behind each photo. I mean,
they often are. The crazier the spot, the better the story.
Right.
Even if you're just observing the story from the other end of the bar, sipping your drink, it's a good story.
You meet some interesting people at these places.
Yeah, for sure. So Fran has a good question here. Yes. How do you know how COVID has impacted the bars presented in the book?
It's been devastating to most of all that I know of. Some have closed, some have like sold, changed hands in the process of being sold. I know my neighborhood bar, 45 Chop, has been hit very hard from it. So they're hanging on by threads.
Yeah.
Some of that is a normal process. People change bar, they sell and buy and whatever. And when before COVID hit, we had 2 or 3 places in the bar. In the book that had been changed or closed or something. So that's a normal process. But when COVID came along, it really accelerated the process, and now it's devastating the industry. And I believe this is where we could possibly talk about Barstool.
Absolutely.
Which, you know, an organization I don't know a lot about, but I've heard about them. And I know that the last time I saw them, they had raised, excuse me, $35 million to help small restaurants and bars, you know. And what they try to do, they try to help mostly people that have been in business for years and years, you know. So, you know, if you have a community bar or a restaurant that is struggling and has been in business for years, and the only reason they're failing is because of COVID, you need to reach out to Barstool and see if they will help you.
Yeah, that's definitely a great resource for bar owners and for people who are looking to help out. You know, it's this difficult sort of catch-22 with a lot of places, bars, restaurants especially, but other small businesses too, is that we're supposed to all stay home, but we also want to support the bar so that it doesn't, you know, so it's there when COVID is over. And so it's like, how do I give them money? How do I support them? But also not, you know, potentially go out and, you know, spread something.
I know. So, tonight I wanted to ideally, you know, I guess host this video cast from 45 Shop in the back room. We're over here at Evangeline behind my office, and you know, they're closed today until Ash Wednesday. So
right. Well, so that it was sort of ironic that we ended up talking about this book on this day, and then last week, you know, the city announced that all the bars are closing from today through Mardi Gras, the end of, you know, Mardi Gras Day. And not that I'm, you know, that's probably for the better, to be honest, you know, for the health of every, you know, the people. But it's tough. That's tough. Even thinking at it, you know, from a local perspective, because the truth is that if we all go out on Mardi Gras Day and go, well, I'm just going to walk around, you know, 5 blocks and grab one drink. Well, that's way less than I would have done on Mardi Gras. But still, if we all do that, now here we are all out doing the thing.
Well, so. I don't know what to think about it. And I don't want to, I shouldn't get into it because it's political, you know.
Well, there's nothing we can do about it anyway. It is what it is at this point. So.
You know, if you compare Mississippi and Louisiana, it's night and day, you know. And it's like over there, you wouldn't even know there is a pandemic. And over here, you can't even go get a drink. I mean, it makes no sense whatsoever. So, I mean, it's, you know, it's not equal if there is such a thing as equality.
What I miss the most, you know, it isn't so much the drink, it's like the live music, you know, like.
Yeah.
Anyway. I like Linda's question with the next projects. Actually, funny you ask, Linda. I'm going on a trip out west here soon and meeting with a couple of tech guys out in Austin, Texas, who got our book. Met them at Home Alone, a signing we had there over the holidays, and they're wanting to discuss what it would take to get us to do a book like Local Spirit about Austin. So,
see, that was a question I was interested in. Like, are there some other cities that you think you could do a similar book?
We talked about this a while back.
Yeah, ironically,
and our friend Todd kind of planted the seed. One of our blues buddies from Clarksdale, Delta, and all that. He's from Texas, but met him up there years and years ago making the blues book. But then that kind of went dormant. And then this guy we met over the holidays reached out when he got home and read the book and enjoyed it and was like, man, we love the book. Let's do one about Austin. So like this, about the old school Austin dives and honky tonks and all that. You know, so.
Have you guys, either one of you, spent much time in Austin?
I have.
I've got relatives over in Texas, but no, I haven't. I've been to Austin, but I haven't really spent any time there.
I split time between here in Austin, 12 and 13 for a couple of years. So
yeah. Do you think it would be more difficult to do it in a place you haven't spent a bunch of time or as much time?
I think we would depend on our Texas buddies that live there in Austin and those guys to kind of like, we would obviously.
We will partner up with someone who knows the culture in Texas.
Yeah.
And, that's how we'll deal with that. We can put the book together and do it and shoot it and all that, but we need an insider to give us the insight on the places in Texas that are most important.
Right, because if you're trying to reach that same like local happy hour sort of mentality, you guys coming in, Ken, you especially like more in this tourist mentality, you don't know which one. It's hard to tell sometimes from the outside, which is which.
And there's, you'd be surprised how many of them have a history. They have history about famous people that sang there, ate there, drank there.
Well,
who knows what?
I wouldn't want to be seen as like an outsider coming into Austin and making a book that I don't know anything about. So I think it would be, those guys, it would be their book, and we're just going to be making it for them. So
that's how I did my Jackson book. I felt weird about that book also. Because I was an outside photographer, but I was working for somebody that had a business there, which was
you're from Mississippi,
Lemuria Books.
Yeah.
Plus, I'm from Mississippi. Plus, Jackson is our capital. So
you get away with that.
I still felt like an outsider, But
look, Austin's in the house right there. Hope.
Yes, so Hope tunes in almost every single week, and she's from Austin, so she'll have to. If you guys end up making the book, I'll have to.
Hope, are there any books in Austin similar to what we're talking about?
We have heard there are not.
Good question. And a follow-up to that, Hope, what bar or bars would you like to be seen in the book? Because here you go. Here's your first bar recommendation. Hope's from Austin.
I've got a short, greatest hits list right now, but we welcome any input.
Yeah. Just jot it down. So I can tell you, like, from working at the bookstore, you're, being local or coming from the outside and writing a book about New Orleans. New Orleans is particularly proprietary with our books, but yeah, as soon as it comes in, one of the first things you look at the front cover, no matter what kind of book it is, makes no difference. Oh, okay, it looks good. Then you immediately flip to the bio and see where they're from. That's it.
Yep.
Now maybe it's still good. I'm not saying it's not a good book, but when they say, "Oh, set in New Orleans," immediately you flip to the bio. Okay.
Well, it's like it's street cred, You have like local street cred.
Yeah. And, most people don't know that I spent a lot of time in New Orleans, or that my wife is from New Orleans, or, they might just say, "Oh, he's from Mississippi." He don't know. Well, it's not entirely true.
I'll tell you something I found out this today. So I'm reading a book. This is unrelated. This is just the book that I'm reading. But the author is from Mississippi. So, okay. Read the bio, whatever. And I contacted her on Twitter telling, I like your book. And she's like, "Oh yeah, well, I have a place on South Peters." And I'm like, "Wait a minute. Your bio says you're from Mississippi. Why didn't you put that on here? Live part-time in New Orleans. You should put that on here."
There are a lot of Mississippi folks that live in New Orleans. As a matter of fact,
and also people from here that have, guest houses over in Bay St. Louis and Waveland and Pasquotank. So
traditionally, Bay St. Louis and Waveland have been 50% New Orleans. 50% of the people that live in Bay St. Louis and Waveland are from New Orleans.
Interesting. So
tacos and restaurants.
Yeah. So Hope hasn't seen a book about bars, but I get breakfast tacos and restaurants. Awesome. Is there a whole book about breakfast tacos? Is Austin known for its breakfast tacos? I didn't know that.
It is. Yeah.
They are. See, I've driven through Austin one time. Austin's one of those cities that I'd really like to take like a long weekend, because it's close enough from New Orleans. You can drive over, spend 3 or 4 days, and have a long weekend in the city. And I have never done it. So I did not know they were known for their breakfast tacos.
On the road, man.
Yeah, very, very good high school buddy of mine has a pizza joint there now. He was a lawyer in Manhattan, quit being a lawyer, went to Italy to learn old world pizza making, and opened up his own pizza restaurant in Austin, and now he's killing it.
That's awesome.
So, ex-lawyer, pizza maker.
How do you go from that to that? I mean, that is...
It's called 40 North Pizza.
There's working.
See? 40 North Pizza. Now we know next time you go to Austin, 40 North Pizza.
That's
Hope, have you had 40 North Pizza? You got to check it out. So Austin. So what's a city? So you've been approached about Austin, but is there anywhere else you think if you guys could do like a bar book about, or you would want to?
My friend Chef Dave, a former client at Emerald's, and now he owns Frankie and Johnny's Uptown.
Mm-hmm.
He bounced the idea off of us doing a dive, or like dive restaurants of like South Louisiana or something like that, and like, you know, showing like a dish. And we're not really into doing like ingredients or recipes or a cookbook or anything, but maybe just showing like
Almost like
the restaurant and showing a dish they're famous for or something like that. That was kind of just a passing thing.
Yeah.
food tourism.
Yeah.
Like a road trip through the state, through the backwoods and the old country restaurants and that sort of thing.
That could be cool.
Yeah.
That could definitely be cool.
Yeah, we're looking at that.
That'd be very fun to make too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll just be able to drive
Right.
through and find these little hole in the wall places. And then you have to stop in and try something.
That's right.
You know, it's
Well,
obvious. It's kind of like your
What
glass
you
of
do
wine.
is it's a real easy thing. Just call the chamber of the local places you're going to go, and they'll tell you who the best restaurant in town is.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter if it's the old dive or what. You know, they'll say, go eat here.
Yep. Especially once they learn like who you really are or what you know, because the first reaction is almost always the tourist reaction. They're always like, what do you really want? Do you want just the burger thing over here, or do you want the real answer?
Yeah.
Once you've established that you want the real answer, they're like, okay, go down here, make a left. There's going to be this big ass tree, make a right. That's where it is. Just stop there.
Right.
Trust us, it's good.
Right.
Like, okay, I trust you. I'll be out in the middle of nowhere.
That's what we're thinking.
Yeah, and absolutely the Chamber of Commerce or the visitor center, even not the touristy visitor center, but like the actual visitor center.
Call the sheriff's office; they'll tell you whatever you need to know.
Mm-hmm. I'll tell you somewhere else. Bookstores are good for that too. I've gone into bookstores all over. My husband travels for work, and he hasn't been during COVID. But when our son was younger, I stayed home with him. So we went with him a lot of times. And we'd end up in these little bitty towns in nowhere, Illinois, Michigan, Texas, Mississippi, Alabama, whatever. And I'm like, I don't know what is going on here. And then you just walk into, the Chamber of Commerce, a bookstore, a local coffee shop or something. And you say, here I am. I have a 3-year-old little boy. These are the things I need. I'm going to be here for 10 days. Shoot me, give it to me. And they'll give you the best coffee shop, the best restaurant, the best park, that it's the real stuff.
Yep.
That's exactly how you get like the best recommendations. And then like you guys were saying, you go into this bar and then you end up with 3 more recommendations because they know what you're doing now. And now you've got 3 other little restaurants.
What we'd also do too was like during the making of the book, we wouldn't ever like second guess ourselves, but we would kind of wanted to be sure that all the bases were covered, as far as like, and so we would get the gambits, like top 50, dive bars in the city or best 100 bars. And it's kind of like what we had, cross-checking their list. We're like, yeah, we're good. I mean, some were like definite no-goes for us because they were more like touristy quarter bars and all that. But I mean, most of the neighborhood bars or almost all we had covered. So we're good to go.
We didn't do hardly any corporate bars. And the Lafitte House wouldn't let us in.
Really?
From
the blacksmith shop.
Yeah.
They were apparently they're owned by a restaurant bar group now, not based in the state at all. Yeah. They wanted us to jump through all these hoops with lawyers and stuff, and we were like, "No, we're good. We'll just shoot it from the exterior and be done with it."
Yeah, you don't need it that bad.
But Lafitte's Absinthe House, the old Absinthe House, was fine with it. So go figure. Don't know. I know.
Sometimes, the behind the scenes of whatever's going on there is not like it's not worth even
People
getting into.
Sometimes just don't know what you're doing. I think maybe people thought we were trying to rip them off. Who knows? They thought we were going to charge them or something. I don't know.
We wanted to shoot Harry's Corner really bad and like Johnny White's, and it was like just pulling teeth, man, to get like clearance. We're like,
Hey, man, we just
You
want
know.
to take a picture.
We just want to shoot a photo and put you in our book, you know. But
I want to basically give you free publicity
right,
in this
Exactly.
cool book I'm
the
doing.
folks didn't really grasp that. They thought we wanted money. We're like, we don't want any money. We just want your permission to shoot, you know. And so that was it.
Do you want to be in this book or don't you?
I would imagine a few regret it now, but
Yeah.
it's what it is. Maybe next time.
It is what it is.
Maybe volume 2.
There could be a volume 6. I mean, there's so many bars and restaurants. It's crazy. So, coming up with the criteria is the hard part.
Right.
And that's what we thought about the restaurant thing is what criteria do we use? If we're going to go on the road, do we use the oldest, the best? How do you decide which ones you're going to use? Every town's got 10,
Right.
at least. So, an average size book can only be about 200 pages. People won't pay for it after that.
Yeah, this one's 196. Local Spirit's 196. 183 photos, 102 bars. So it's a pretty hefty book.
Yeah, we're pushing the limit.
Yeah.
Once you pick it up, it's got some substance to it. It's like a boat anchor.
Now with one that you did with restaurants, if you did like back road, backcountry restaurants, you could have a travel companion option, right? You got this beautiful coffee table book, but then what if I want to go to all these? How do I make a little road trip? Oh,
You can have an app.
I've got your little. Oh, you could make an app. That's right. You could make an app, or you could make like a small, where you wouldn't. The photographs would be very different, right? But how do I get here on a road trip?
Or supplemental like map insert or something like that.
Yes, something like that. See, because that's the way I would want to use this book.
And who knows? We could end up making these 2 books simultaneously. So we'll see.
So many ideas.
Yeah.
I love this. This is a rabbit hole you could just keep going down. Yeah, because you can do this with so many different things, and in so many different areas. You could do backcountry restaurants just in Louisiana, or the whole South, or just Mississippi. You could go, you could go to a totally different area of the country. Go New England back road, little restaurant.
What about that in
We could do
just do it in regions.
back roads restaurant book just on the Mississippi Delta alone. I mean, there's so many great, southern, soul food spots up there. It's amazing.
Yeah, some of the little country places are the best food you can get.
You mentioned Clarksdale a minute ago, and we're going to go to Clarksdale on Wednesday because I got to get out of the house.
Our good friends own Shack Up Inn, so tell Bill and Guy we said hello when you're there.
All right.
Home away from home. Shack Up Inn.
That was like the Mississippi State of Blues book, like remote headquarters when we're shooting the Shack Up Inn.
Yeah, I looked it up because we're only going to stay one night. It's just I've never seen the Crossroads, and I know it's just roads in the middle of nowhere. I know it. It's okay. But we were trying to find something that wasn't really like you don't want to go out and touch everybody, but you want to get out, do something.
Try to go see all 3 of Robert Johnson's graves because there's 3 of them.
All right.
The primary grave is north of Greenwood, right there by Tallahatchie Flats.
All right. Okay. Well, I don't know the story of him having 3 graves.
Yep.
What is it? Why does he have?
I think so our good friend who's a blues anthropology professor at Ole Miss, Scott Beretta, wrote the essay for State of Blues. He had a theory that they were worried about people wanting to dig up parts of his grave, like Marie Laveau here, keeping it secret, and kind of like, what do you call the shell game kind of thing? Like, got to figure out which one he's in, dig it up to find his bones and stuff. So no one knows for sure which one is the real grave, but they're pretty sure it's the one north of Greenwood. But I mean, it was just more of trying to keep you guessing.
Did we put all 3 or did we put 2 in the book?
I think we shot all 3.
I think we did shoot.
Yeah.
See, what's amazing about that is that wasn't even that long ago. So, like,
2008 and 9.
Well, no, I mean Robert Johnson.
Okay.
Passed away, like him dying, and then that wasn't even that long ago to have separating potentially body parts and moving bodies and stuff. I'm like, That wasn't.
I think it had to do.
Old blues guys with some characters.
I think there was some like factions in the family as well that had different ideas about where he should be buried. So there were a couple of different like variables and factors in the three grave thing. As far as I remember.
Here's this I'm posting is an article about Robert Johnson's, like, where is he buried?
The documentary on Netflix right now is really good. Actually, it's really well done.
I'll have to look. I didn't immediately find the essay, but
and they think the true crossroads is actually way out in the woods in the swamp at like a railroad spur and a dirt road by a cemetery.
Mhm.
49 and 61 in downtown Clarksdale. That's
right.
the ornamental crossroads.
Right. That's
Right.
unofficial.
Right.
That's
For
the
sure.
tourism crossroads.
Exactly. No, you got to go. You got to go to the real one.
When Rick and I did the blues book, we would be out on a country road somewhere. We didn't even know.
Middle of the cotton field, be like left or right.
We wouldn't know which way to turn. We're like, let's just go that way and see what happens.
Those are the best kind of road trips, though. You got a full tank of gas, and you're just like, all right, let's see what's up to the right. I
Right.
don't know. Worst case scenario, we'll turn around.
That's the way to do it right there.
Right? That's fun. So I do want to mention one other place. We mentioned Barstool earlier, and I just heard about the Nola Bean coin, which is a project of the crew of Red Beans here in New Orleans, and they're also doing some help, like some work with the local bars and how we can help support them. And I don't know a ton about it yet because it is relatively new, but I'm going to put this in the comments here for anybody who wants to take a look at it, because I know that is just local bars here in New Orleans.
What a great concept. I like it.
I like the concept. I did a similar concept when I started my bar in Bay St. Louis. It was a shark card, and we would sell cards that weren't any good until after we opened. We weren't even open. And then when it opened, the card was worth twice as much as what you paid for it. So it encouraged people to, one, buy the card, but people got twice as much for their money. So it was a good, it was a win-win deal for everybody.
Ken, what's the name of your bar in Bay St. Louis?
Well, I don't have anything to do with it anymore, but it's called, the one I did open was Dan B's. But I'm no longer associated.
That's not you anymore.
He single-handedly took on the Secretary of State of Mississippi and the mayor of St. Louis and won his land back after an illegal eminent domain and pretty awesome stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's another story.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, we're reaching the end of the hour. We should have started at the beginning of the hour if we wanted to get all the way through that one.
We'll get into that later.
Did you want to ask about mine and Ken's history or how we met each other and started working together and all that? I guess we already did, didn't we?
Yeah. I don't know. Did we do that? Yeah. I don't know if we did that.
Sorry.
But no, that's fine.
It's the Snoop Dogg, Cali Red.
Starts to get to you. I have learned from doing many of these virtual happy hours from starting back in April that, see, I still got half a drink left. I gotta learn to pace. Had to learn to pace myself in the first couple of virtual happy hours.
Here's a third bottle left, I think.
Mm-hmm. See, the very first virtual happy hour was very exciting for me on the back end here, for more than one reason. One, it was my first one, so I'm like, I got to get it all right. And I made a mistake and brought the bottle of vodka to the desk. So I don't do that anymore. I just have my one drink. And it's great. It makes you all the way through the hour. And it's
so good when it's going down.
Do you own Garden District Books?
I'm sorry.
Are you the owner?
No, I'm not the owner of Garden District Books. I am the social media manager and bookseller at Garden District Books. We actually just changed ownership as well. We were talking about bars that changed ownership. So we actually just changed ownership February 1st.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Britton, he sold the bookstore. We have 3 partners that are now the owners, and it's we're still in that sort of transition where everybody's trying to figure out what everyone's role is, inside a new business. But I think it's going to be great. There's so many great ideas that are coming out, and we're just figuring out like how to implement each of the pieces.
Are you going to stay in the rink?
We're gonna stay in the rink, yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
My cousin just opened a bookstore in Columbus, Mississippi.
Oh, awesome! What's the name of the bookstore? Do you remember?
Oh God, I knew you was going to ask me.
Well, if you say it out loud, I gotta ask.
Her name's Emily Liner, and the bookstore is.
Christina is like shaking her screen right now. Going,
I'm Googling it to see if it comes up. The Book End, Friendly City Books.
City Books. What's that one?
Friendly City?
I think that might be it.
All right.
Yeah. When was that one started? Because it just.
Oh, I don't know. Let's see. If
it doesn't say. She's gonna.
Oh, it says now open at the top of their website. So I'm going to assume.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's it. Friendly City. Yeah.
All right.
I'm almost 9. I'm 99.9% sure.
Well, I'm going to share a link to that. And if you're wrong, you know what? We're just sharing a link to another friendly indie bookstore in Mississippi.
Well, she's selling our book, so you're linking your competition, but that's okay.
You know what? Let me tell you something about indie bookstores. We're all on the same page. We're all in it together.
I love indie bookstores.
Yeah. The truth of the matter is that if another indie bookstore in Columbus, Mississippi makes a sale and the other online retailers do not, we all still win.
That's right.
Because if you shop at an indie bookstore in Columbus, Mississippi, you're more likely when you come to visit New Orleans to look up indie bookstores in New Orleans. And then we're here for you. And vice versa.
Indie bookstore customers are usually loyal to indie bookstores.
Exactly.
Our good friend John Evans owns Lemuria Books in Jackson. It's the biggest independent bookstore in the state.
I love Lemuria.
Yeah, John's a good guy.
Usually every time I drive through, you end up driving through Jackson to get to all kinds of places. When you're headed in that general direction, I try and stop by, even if it's like 5 or 10 minutes. You got to run in, say hi.
And then Square Books in Oxford, also friends of ours, sell Square as well.
Turn Row in Greenwood.
Yep.
Square Books is great. We have an employee who used to work at Garden District Books for like 15 years, and he moved up to Oxford and now works at Square Books. So say hi to Ted next time you're in Square Books. For sure. Well, you know what, guys? We made it. We made it through our hour.
5 minutes. That's crazy.
Right?
It's been an hour already.
It's been an hour.
Usually when I do a talk, they make me shut up.
No, you did great. It was the perfect amount of talking for virtual happy hour. I just want to thank you guys for joining me, and everybody who tuned in and everybody who commented. Thank you for watching. Thank you for sharing your questions and comments with us. You can get the book Local Spirit at Garden District Bookshop. We have signed copies. You can purchase it through our website. We ship worldwide, and those copies will be signed as well if you order it through our website. And you guys have a wonderful evening.
Thanks so much for having us, and thanks for tuning in, you guys. We appreciate it. Ultimate compliment. Thank you all. Happy Mardi Gras.
Appreciate it.
Yes, happy Mardi Gras.
Thank you.
All right.